Are $1,000 match grade Autotricklers worth the cost? Stay tuned, we'll find out.
So what we have here is my setup, and the only expensive piece of equipment you're going to see here is the Scout balance, aka scale, by O-House, and it's a $400 balance. But the rest of it's pretty straightforward. I have a vise that works really well to hold the trickler in place, and as you see, when I go to trickle, I lay my forearm on the bench, and it allows a really stable platform. The trickler is held really solid. It allows me to spin it really fast. It allows me to spin it very slow as well. So I'm loading Hodgdon H4350, target of 40.2 grains, plus or minus 0.02 grains. 0.02 is essentially a single grain of Hodgdon H4350, ironically. So the high is 40.22 with a low of 40.18. I purposely set the Lee powder throw up a little too close to my target so that I would definitely go over. The very first one was right on the money, but you're going to see some that are too low. Here we're at 39.86, and then I'll scroll up to it. But I think you can see what I'm getting at, and here I'm tapping a little bit off, and still on the high side. I was able to tap so few grains off that MK machining powder pan works really well. It has a little more friction. Some people don't like that. I actually really like it. And once you use it a little bit and pour a bunch of throws out of it, the bottom of it gets a little glossy. So the point is that what I have here is a $400 Scout, a $30 Frankfurt Arsenal Trickler, and a $42 pan of ice to hold it in place, and a $20 MK machining powder pan, and approximately $80 I think is the Lee powder throw. So pretty inexpensive when you consider a Autotrickler system uses an A&D FX120i. That's the only scale that you can use, balance that you can use with a Autotrickler, which I think is a pretty big mistake on his part. This balance I think is just as accurate. You don't really need that house to sit over the top of it. A piece of sheet metal would do very nicely to be able to hold the throw, if so you wanted to do that. But because I've seen that A&D FX120i go for as much as $800. I did just before filming see it for about $600, and then the Autotrickler itself is about $500. So that's quite a bit more money, and when you see how long it takes me to do it, even if I go over, I'm averaging 22 seconds per powder drop. And that's about how long an Autotrickler or an RCBS Matchmaster, which is cheaper, it's $900. The downside of that system, of course, is that it doesn't work as well as just a dedicated balance. If you did go with the Autotrickler system, you can scale up too. You could use the A&D FX120i like I'm doing it, and then you could go and spend $500 later, and scale up your system. That might be a better way to do than to go with the Matchmaster. There's only two things I see that are better for using an Autotrickler or a Matchmaster type system, is that it's faster if you use two of them. Because I don't really think you're going to go off for that 25 seconds and do something else. And then the other advantage is that you don't have the stress of worrying about the load, yourself. You've got a machine doing it. Okay, so now here I am showing how accurate the scale is. It's at 40.18. I'm pushing all the powder over to the edge. So you can see there, comes in still at 40.18. And I moved it over to the right-hand side. Now I went flat. All the powder's flat. That's just a tremendously powerful unit right there. Really handy. Really nice to have that level of granularity. If you so, choose if you want that. You don't, of course, have to load to the accuracy that I'm loading at. As you get more comfortable with your workups, you may find that you can go significantly larger, and you can test that. If you're in a node, of course, you get to use even larger variation of powder. If you're, loading like I am, I don't care if I'm in a node. I find where my load is the most accurate from a standard deviation standpoint and from grouping. And I just go with that because I'm not worried about, having to load at this level. I find it really not that annoying. And as you can see, it's fairly fast. And when you consider the whole grand scheme of all the different things that you do to do a match grade, hand load, the little futzing that I'm doing for the powder is actually pretty nominal.